The representative of the world of Tohu, which was the original creation, is the name Elohim, which is the original creation. Elohim name is Din. It's also associated with the animal soul, as opposed to Yud He Vav He, which is the godly soul. The 6 days of creation come from Elohim. The big name there is no Yud He Vav He there. It only comes in the second version of creation, so to speak. In chapter 2 of the Torah. And so this concept of Elohim, in my sense, in my belief, from the animal soul, is higher than the godly soul. And that's the whole secret. We're supposed to transmute the animal soul and that energy from the animal soul. This actually comes in Hulin, because Hulin means profane, and the eating of a human being is the real sacrifice in the temple. We get all our laws from the eating of the human being and the slaughtering for that, and all the temple sacrifices, the holy sacrifices come out of our eating meals. Remember, this is my table here that I'm at, my tish. The Elohim name is the big name. And how do I derive this with such surety? It's because here early in the morning I was doing some breathing exercises from the diaphragm. Remember, there's a yud on top, a vav in the middle, and a yud on the bottom. And so, like when a person breathes and they do breathing into the, and I was trying to figure out, where does love at first sight come? When it happened to me once in my life, my stomach dropped. My diaphragm dropped into my stomach, into my real animal soul. You see? Into the animal soul, to the digestive system, into the kidneys, the glucose, I call them, the kleos, dropped. Drops down into Tiferet, into Yesod. Actually, from Tiferet into Yesod. And so this dropping in the animals into the animal soul is for love at first sight. And that's the highest thing there can be. And that's the seeing of Rachel. And Rachel actually comes out to be 1,000. In full. With letters. And so what is this? I was doing these exercises of breathing and shifting. For me, the center of the body, the real hara point, so to speak, in the Chinese world of the middle of the body being kind of like where the Tantien is. The middle of the body in length and everything. We're not talking about the extension of legs. When we talk about the body, we don't talk about the extension of arms, except for another type of purpose. The middle of the body is Tiferet. Right where the diaphragm is. That's the middle of the body. So in tennis they call this a high set. See, not from here. Once you know that the middle of the body is Tiferet, see how your posture changes. See how your breathing changes. And something I did this morning, I went in both directions with my breath. Leaving the diaphragm still. Anyway, so I got this sensation that the diaphragm is Tiferet. Remember, there you go. I did how Shemesh, the sun, that's Tiferet. It's the middle of the body. That's where the tefillin of the arm adheres to. Right there. It's where the legs start in yoga. My brother used to say, start the legs from the end of the rib cage. And that's why the middle of the body is really here. Because this is where you know what I'm saying? It's not that the legs go to the floor. Malkuth is where I'm sitting now, or it could be the floor when I'm standing. So it's a different thing. The middle of the body is Tiferet at the diaphragm. Tiferet, I spell Tov, quotation marks, Tov. That's the way it's usually spelled. They don't usually spell it out 5 letters. If you spell it out 5 letters, it's a good thing for Elohim also. Because you have 5 letters in Elohim, the 5 dinim, the 5 final letters. But it's usually spelled out Tov Tov. That's 800. And Yesod is 80. So there's a connection between this Tiferet and Yesod, because in the old these Hara points and Tantien points, they have it down there in the middle of the body. It's in the Yesod, so to speak. And the Vav into the letter Vav is spelled Vav, and they consider it Tiferet with the one Vav and Yesod with the other. There's a parallelism here. But the real secret is to locate these things here. Not the belly button or below the belly button, but in the diaphragm. See? And that's Tiferet, and below is Yesod, which is 80. And then I add the letters. Tov Tov, that's 2. And Yesod is 4 letters. That's 6. So I have 880 and then 6. 886. It's the 3 spellings of Elohim. Elohim is 886 when spelled 300, 295, and 291. So this connection of the real center, which is usually considered Yud-He Vav-He in the center, no. Elohim is the center. Adonai Hu Elohim. Elohim is the name of the first 6 days of creation and the first worlds of Tohu before they were destroyed and then created in the Tikkun. The Tikkun comes from the name Yud-He Vav-He. But not the real thing. Real thing comes from Elohim. And once you recognize this, you know, Elohim is like the Yetzer Hara. And that's where the real passion is. Passion for food, passion for life, passion for sex, passion for development. Bring that into the upper worlds and see what happens. That's what the animal soul is here on earth. It's higher than the godly soul. And the animal soul here can control the godly soul up there. Give it passion. Give it fire. Give it air. And this high set here, see what happens to your body. See what happens to your levels. You'll be in the higher levels, not the body levels of the neshama, the ruach, and the nefesh, or the 3 levels of the body, but there are 2 levels of surrounding lights. With this animal soul. And these surrounding levels are outside the body. And there's an obvious fourth level, as the fourth amos, but there's a fifth. And I think it's the yad. And that yad, that's a fifth level. It's what I call hayayad, yehida letters. The yad, and then the yad itself, and it's expanded. And then you can root down into the tomb and into the depths, through the legs that start at the chest, at here, the diaphragm. And this all comes from the desire for love at first sight, which comes from the animal soul. Hear this? Love at first sight comes from the animal soul. Because the godly soul drops down into the animal soul. So the godly soul is above, the animal soul is below. And when you see love at first sight, drops down into the animal soul. It's the belly brain. It's the stuff below the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the division between the godly soul and the animal soul. So realize this, that Tiferet is at the level of the diaphragm. That's the sun. And that's the letter Vav, and that's 6. You see? And there are 6 days of this week, plus a 7th day. And this 7th day is in a certain sense higher and independent of Shabbat. Shabbat only comes when the name Yud He Vav He is introduced. I don't go for this, first thing when it says Shabbat, it means rest. And Shabbat comes from the godly soul. The 7th day comes from the animal soul. These are a few words this morning. Again, there's other ways to do this. Hold your breath. Move your diaphragm. Do laughing yoga. Things like that. Get in touch with the diaphragm.